just a jump to the net. Put your hands on your hips.
Seeing how we're never going to get monetized because of the rules, I just figured, let's play a copyrighted song. Hello everybody, my name is Dusty, and welcome to my channel. It came to my attention today that a lot of different people hold a lot of different opinions on what is right and what is wrong in the aquarium hobby. While scrolling through a Goldfish Keeper's Facebook page, a question popped up on what you can keep with goldfish, and it kind of surprised me the answers that I got. As you all know, I keep goldfish. I currently have a dojo loach in with my goldfish, and I have kept a lot of different things with my goldfish in the past. Now, I want to make it completely clear, just because I have done it in the past because I was ill-educated doesn't mean you should go out and do it now. But I'm just simply telling you my experience and why I kind of think these goldfish keepers are wrong. To begin, there are a lot of websites out there offering a lot of different information on goldfish and what you can keep with them. Now I commented saying, hey, I keep a dojo loach with my goldfish. I have kept plecos with them in the past, and ghost shrimp, a mono shrimp. I think I had Danios at one time. Now all those things were completely wrong and don't follow what I did, but I want to say that I think it's all based on experience. You know your fish better than everybody else, so I think it's based on what you feel comfortable with. It kind of got me thinking about where these fish keepers are getting their advice from. A lot of the people said, this is the forum rules, this is what we say, we're not condoning keeping any kind of fish but goldfish with goldfish. We're specifically saying keep goldfish only tanks. Now when I questioned where they were getting this information from and why, all I got was this was best for the fish, and that didn't suit me enough. Online, I have found a lot of different forums, pages that say you can keep other things with goldfish, and here I was with this page saying, these are our rules, you should not, and we will not tell you any differently. And the conversation kind of escalated from me saying I just have a dojo loach to instantly being accused that I'm going to kill my fish, and it's going to be all my fault. And I don't think that's right. I think we all know that when you introduce a different species of fish into a tank, there might be a risk. Even if that fish is listed as a community fish, it can still devastate your tank. When you bring in new species of fish, you have to be careful and slowly go about this. You don't just plop in a dozen and hope for the best. You introduce one or two at a time and see how they react. Now, my goldfish in the dojo loach have gotten along fairly well. There hasn't been any attacking whatsoever, and I'm really interested in this. I'm interested so much that I'm actually looking into why people recommend you don't keep dojo loaches with goldfish. And the main reason is because they can attack the goldfish, take off their slime coat, and kill the fish because of how powerful they are. For me, this is kind of conflicting with some other things I've heard from my local pet stores and other places, that it's fine to keep dojo loaches with goldfish. They also say you're not supposed to keep Plecostomus with them. I have, and I've never ran into an issue. I think this is where, coming into experience, I can say that as long as you feed the fish well, you make sure there's more than enough room for all the fish in the tank, you make sure the water parameters are fine, and you shouldn't have an issue. Now a lot of people might say, well, freak accidents happen, and yes they do, but they even happen in community tanks as well. You could have, like, let's just take Joey from DIY for example. You could have 4 arowana and a bunch of stingrays and a Bashir in a tank, and things seem to be going fine, and next thing you know, half your fish are dead. It can't happen. But it's about making sure you're watching them, looking for signs, making sure things are okay. You don't just wake up one morning and all your fish are dead. There are things that happen slowly but surely, and I think it's important to watch those things. A tank can get devastated overnight. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the likelihood is small. And I don't want to say I'm an expert in any way on this, so don't quote me, but in my personal opinion, if you keep, let's say, one dojo loach with a goldfish, there is a rare chance that it might kill your goldfish. But from what I have heard from conflicting experts is that it's probably not going to happen. And the evidence that the goldfish keeping forum listed was, why take that unnecessary risk? Well, why do we take any risks at all? I mean, you can have a community tank and throw a betta in there, but are you going to condone that person for putting a betta in a community tank because something could go wrong? Yesterday I got 6 fry from my guppy tank, but before I got there I saw my betta eating probably about a dozen of them before I got there. But I put that betta in there. I knew the risks of introducing it into a community tank, so I take full responsibility for that. Things like that happen that you might not think of all the time, so I think it's pretty, not immature, but it's pretty lousy to tell people you can't do this, primarily because you're putting your fish at risk when we put our fish at risk every day. The moment we take them out of that pet store and put them in a fish tank, we expose them to a lot of unnecessary things. Whether it's accidentally medicating them, overfeeding them, forgetting a water change, you name it, there are a lot of things we expose our fish to that could harm it. Now those things, in my opinion, are more detrimental because those things can completely destroy your tank, whereas a dojo loach, probably not going to. And I know I might get a whole lot of hate for this video, and I'm prepared for that, but I just wanted to talk about this because I think it's an important issue to have a conversation about. I introduced a new goldfish into my tank. I didn't quarantine it. That's my fault, and it infected one of my other goldfish. Just introducing same species of goldfish or same species of fish can cause an issue in your tank. While you might have heard a horror story of a Plecostomus attaching itself to a goldfish, I doubt that would happen in your tank. And if you're out there listening to this and you say, well, mine did, I completely believe you, it happens. But we can't just automatically assume that it's because a goldfish was mixed in with a different fish. Maybe that would have happened to any other fish that Plecostomus was with. And by the way, Plecostomus aren't even proper tank mates because a lot of them require warmer temperatures, whereas a dojo loach would be almost perfect. And even if it's not a dojo loach, there are other types of loaches that require smaller tanks and stay smaller that would go great with a goldfish. But it's about whether or not you want to take, I guess, that unnecessary risk of introducing a new fish into your tank. But again, it can happen to almost anyone. Introducing a goldfish into your new tank, and next thing you know, like for me, I have an internal parasite. I think those are the kinds of things that kind of resonate in my mind when people say, you should do this way because, you know, something bad can happen. Well, something bad can happen no matter what. I mentioned before, I kept shrimp in my tank, and I want to be completely honest and say don't do that. Not because the shrimp attacked my goldfish or because my goldfish attacked my shrimp. In fact, they never bothered anyone. They just don't belong in the same ecosystems together. Goldfish should be a little bit colder, shrimp should be a little bit warmer, but I will say that my goldfish did, and my shrimp, thrived in that tank. My goldfish were eating relatively regularly, they were doing wonderful, the shrimp were reproducing. It was actually a lovely tank, but I wanted to kind of separate them into species specific. So over there I have my more tropical tanks along with my frogs, and over here I have my cold water tanks with my dojo loach and my goldfish. And I think in the end, it's up to you if you want to take that risk, but I don't think other people should be told that they're going to completely destroy their tank based off of one decision they make about one fish, when it could almost happen to anyone. But for me, I'm going to watch my tank, I'm going to make sure there's no signs of abuse on either end, and I'm going to watch my water parameters. At the end, if I see any aggression or something happens to my tank where some parameter is off, I'll find a solution to that when it comes. And while people say you should be preventative instead of reactionary, I think it's important to mention that anything can happen at any given time. You just never know. So I'm going to keep my eye on Shirley and my goldfish to make sure they really do legitimately get along and there's no signs of abuse in the future. If you have an opinion on this, leave it down in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Tweet me at DHAquatics, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
I don't want no peace. Give in to